Alright, welcome to Unit 7-2, multi-step equations. We're going to continue where we left off last time. Let's start off with our math career here. How about an air traffic controller? Pretty healthy salary there. Got some mathematics to study. Air traffic controllers coordinate movement of air traffic to make certain that planes stay a safe distance apart. Of course, that's the ultimate concern of air traffic controllers, getting planes safely through their flight paths. They also have a lot of other responsibilities, and you can read more about that there, or contact me and I will print you up some more information for you. Alright, today we'll be solving equations with multiple steps, just like prior studies. And today we're going to be reviewing the distributive property. Remember that distributive property is when we have something, a multiplier on the outside, a coefficient outside of a polynomial, and we're going to end up distributing that number through. Alright, real quick refresher here. Go ahead and just talk to yourself, or maybe a neighbor if you're studying together. What would you do the first here? So what would you do? What would we do here? Wouldn't we add 3 to both sides? I think so, because that 3 is furthest away from the y. How about this one? How about we multiply both sides by 3? That sounds right to me. How about this one? 3m multiplied by 5 equals 30? Well, looks like that times 5 is furthest away. Let's divide both sides by 5. What would we do first here? How about n plus 12? We subtract 12 from both sides. Good. How about this one? What do you think? If you said multiply both sides by 5, you were correct. How about this one? How about we add 4 to both sides of this equation? Add 4. How about this guy here? To get b by itself, we would add 7 to both sides. Excellent. This one, a little bit trickier here. B over 3 plus 9 equals 2. That 9 is certainly furthest apart, so we're going to go ahead and subtract 9 from both sides. How about this one? This looks like yesterday's problem, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and subtract 4 from both sides on this one. Alright. Now that you're kind of warmed up here, with some multi-step equations we already know what to do. Of course, to find a solution, we'll go through this pretty quickly. Here, I'll just walk you through it. We would multiply both sides by 3. We rewrite the equation. We subtract 1 from both sides. Good. And then we simply divide by 2. And we know that x equals 10. Okay. So again, kind of a rewind from yesterday. Now with all equations, if you can simplify any expressions, that's what you would do first. So again, we're overlapping a previous lesson here. And we want to make sure we clean these up. So how about we have 3m on the left and 12 on the right. And of course it would be easier, and so we end up with 3m equals 12. Divide both sides by 3, we're all done. Alright, and we had another one here. What did we do? We combined the 8x and the negative 5x down to this. And then what would we do next? What would we do next? Wouldn't we add 21 to both sides? Okay, let's add 21 to both sides. And we end up getting 6 over here. And 3x equals 6. Well, 3 multiplied by something is 6. There's only one answer in the whole world that works, and that is, of course, the number 2. We can prove that by dividing both sides by 3. Good. Alright, now, for your notebook here, with the distributive property, 5 multiplied by the quantity p minus 2 equals negative 15. So copy this one down with me here. What we're going to do is apply the distributive property. So I'm going to multiply 5 times p, and of course get 5p. We don't know what p is. We're just going to multiply it by 5. But we do know that 5 times negative 2 is what? Well, that's going to be negative 10. And the right-hand side doesn't change. It's equals negative 15. Now just do your normal thing. What do? We get rid of what's farthest away from the p. In this case is negative 10. So let's add 10 to both sides. And we end up with 5p equals negative 5. Divide both sides by 5. And just like that, you're all done. P equals negative 1. So if you plug a negative 1 in there, doesn't that make sense? If we had a negative 1 sitting right here, negative 1 minus 2, well, that's negative 3, and 5 times negative 3 is indeed negative 15. Alright, try this one on your own here. Oh, a little bit trickier here. Look at that. So, what would we do first? If you were to go ahead and take a look at that, looks like we're going to distribute, and then clean something up, and then solve. So why don't you give that one a try, and I'll be here in just a second to help you out. Alright, here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start by distributing the 3 to the d and the 3 to the negative 4 and rewrite the equation. So that's the result of the distributive property. Now what can we do before we take another step here? couldn't we combine the D and the 3D? So if we do that, we end up with 4D minus 12 equals 20. And now it's just downhill from here. We're going to add 12 to both sides. Sorry, that's after combining like terms, of course. We're going to add 12 to both sides, and we end up with 4D equals 32. And 4 times what is 32? Well, we know that to be, of course, 8. We can prove that by dividing by 4. All right. So the important piece there, of course, was the distributing. Now, not all signs in the world are important, but every sign in an algebra problem is important. So consider the following. Just watch this one. You don't have to do any work. Just sit back and watch. See this negative sign sitting out here? This negative sign, of course, think of our love note rule. It's going to reverse everything inside the parentheses. So this negative sign here changes all the signs inside the parentheses. That positive 2y becomes, that's right, negative 2y, and the adding 4 becomes subtracting 4. Good. So let's go ahead and apply that negative sign, and that's what we end up with. Now we can combine like terms. Anytime there's a negative out there, just think of it as having a coefficient of -1. Apply the distributive property, and you're all set. You can also just flip all the signs inside there as long as you get all of them, all right? All right, so let's go ahead and try this one now. Give that one a try and see what you can come up with. All right, let's go ahead and work this to completion here. I'm going to take that negative sign and run it through. Did you get 6 minus x minus 2? You should have changed the x to negative and the 2 to negative equals 9. Next, we're going to combine like terms. So how about 6 and negative 2 gives you 4? 4 minus x equals 9. Of course, that is after combining like terms. And now we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. Now things get a little bit weird here just for a second because we end up with negative x equals 5. Well, that's really negative 1 times x. So you can think of it as a couple of things. Either it's a negative 1 times x equals 5 or the opposite of x equals 5. You can multiply by -1 to get rid of the negative sign. You can divide by -1. Either way, though, we end up getting the opposite answer. So x is going to equal -5. Lots of different ways you can approach that. Maybe the easiest way, what students in the past have really liked, when you have a negative variable, just multiply the whole equation by -1. You'll flip all the signs, and you end up with the right answer. Okay. All right, that's it for Unit 7-2. There's some more practice, and there's some digital practice below, and there's some more instruction there at the top. All right then, we'll see you soon.